welcome to the Sharpe Way show. It's been a long time, hasn't it? It's been, a couple of weeks since I've done an actual live show. I know it's been a while, and some of you have missed me. I have missed you too. But I am back. I am back this week with at least 2 shows, perhaps even 3 or 4. Next week, back with at least 2 or 3, maybe even 4 or 5 next week. Yes, we are back trying to provide some decent content for you people. I know you're missing it. Without me, you have no decent content, but now you do. And what brought me back? Well, there were so many things that my governor, or my queen, Her Majesty, Kathy Hochul, first of her name, banisher of the middle class, ring giver to the wealthy, she has gone out of her way to do so many things, have so many failures, and to put them on blast as if she's somehow winning. I thought I had to come back. I had to say something. I had to make something happen if at all possible. So there's going to be a couple of videos tonight, a couple of them, maybe 3 or 4 of them I'll pop up to show you what she's been doing over the past month or so. Failure upon failure in New York State, and literally no responsibility whatsoever. I know, shocker. You saying, I said, wait a minute, Larry. I think this is going to be a good show. You're right. It will be. So what should you do? You should click the button that is like, because you know it's good. Stop fooling yourself. You know, I know it's good. You know it's good. We all know it's going to be good. So click the button that is like right now. Do that so that more people can see it. If you're watching this on Twitter, retweet this. Don't wait. Retweet it now so people can see it. Retweeting does matter if you can. Clicking that button that is like does matter. So please do so that we can get started and start chatting about the one and the only, my amazing governor, the queen herself. Let's see if I can find her right now. Bring her aboard so you can see what she is doing. Hold on here. And we can start talking about how, the piece that is most amazing for her is that she doesn't think she's done anything wrong at all. And here she goes.
Good morning.
Morning.
When New York State passed the Marijuana Regulation and Taxation Act,
I remember
we're
that.
committed to setting up the nation's fairest, most equitable cannabis industry.
Now, she said she wanted to set up the nation's most equitable cannabis industry. And I'm trying to think about the cannabis industry that I know or knew throughout the entire country on how equitable it was. It was really equitable. It really was. If you had money and some guy had weed, you could give him that money and he would give you weed. Pretty equitable. He actually didn't care what religion you were, what race you were, what gender you were. He didn't care at all. And sometimes she, but it's usually a he, but even she sometimes did not care because, again, it was equitable. If women decided they wanted to sell weed, they could, or buy weed, they could. Nobody stopped them except, the government. The government. The market itself was super equitable. In fact, the market actually allowed for more people of color. So it wasn't just equal, it was equitable. It allowed women, if they wanted to sell drugs if they wanted to. They could sell weed. Lots of Black people and Hispanic people sell weed too. Everybody could sell weed. It was already equitable. So the government decided to step in and make it garbage. And I warned everybody about this years ago. I warned you in 2018 when I said regulate it like onions, as I meant any vegetable. Didn't matter. Do it that way, and it could be fair. No, I warned you. I said the Office of Cannabis Management would be a disaster. What were her words? Disaster. So I guess she does copy me in some ways, not the good ones.
Those were not just words. We wanted to make sure that those who've been targeted by the failed drug wars of the past by racially biased enforcement had opportunities to...
There was the problem, which we just said. She said that the war on drugs was failed because it wasn't racially fair. We should have put more white people in jail. Then it would have been fair. No! The war on drugs is in itself wrong, regardless whether you decide to put more Black people or more Hispanic people, more white people in jail. She's like, well, the war on drugs is fine. It didn't put enough white people in jail. That doesn't make it good. But she actually said that because she believes it. And let me keep going on one thing. Hold on. Every single one of her videos, Every time she speaks, you will notice similar things every time. Number one, she will always virtue signal. She will. In this case, she did with it's not good because race. But she'll virtue signal on race or on gender or on religion. She will always virtue signal, guaranteed. Other things she almost always does. She will say how proud she is. I'm proud of this. I'm proud of that. We're proud of this. Always proud. And how hard she works. We worked hard. They worked hard. Thank you. They worked so hard. They will always say those things. Now, why would you virtue signal? Talk about how proud you are and how hard you work. Because your results suck. That's the reason. If your results suck, you've got to say, well, I tried hard and I'm proud. And look, I virtue signaled. And at the end of almost every one of these, there is a job handout, which is just more government money and a job handout. And it doesn't matter at all. At all. It doesn't matter whether or not the program was successful or not. If the program was successful, she says, it's successful. Give it more money because it's successful. If it fails, it failed. Didn't have some money. Give it more money. So at the end of every one of these, there are more jobs and more money regardless. Right? And that's every single time. It's so bad. And Joe is teasing me. He's saying, are Kathy's colors the same as Sharpe Way colors? She's copying me, Joe. She wants to be me. She does. She wants to be me, but she can't be as cool as I am. But yes, she is copying me. I'm glad you caught that. So now she's already virtue signaled. That's done. Has she talked about proud and hard work yet? I'm not sure. That will come. And at the end, there'll be more money. That's how all of these work.
Benefit from legalization.
Okay.
It was an approach that no other state has attempted.
Except for California.
And I still continue to believe that these goals are worthy and just.
Colorado.
But it's fair to say that New York's emerging cannabis industry has had plenty of challenges before it.
I'm telling you, before she legalized, there was no weed in New York. She's right. No one could get weed in New York. Never could get any weed in New York without her allowing it's a new industry, you guys. This whole cannabis thing.
Some of them beyond our control, litigation from out-of-state mega corporations trying to undermine our goals.
So you didn't think, and this is a common thread for also, the thing that she actually does worse than Cuomo, and I can't actually defend Cuomo on this one. Cuomo actually would think when he put something together, oh, these guys might attack me. These guys might attack me. He actually thought of this stuff, which made him actually more effective at doing terrible things. He was more effective because he actually was intelligent and smart and savvy and go, this guy will attack me. That guy will attack me. And he was actually able to make that happen. She just throws money at stuff and walks away. I wish I was joking. She just goes, here's money. Bye. And she says, oh, wait a minute. You gave me lots of money. So you're in charge. Good luck. I'm going to go off and play with kids or something, whatever she does. She's going to go do that. Meanwhile, things fail. Then she comes back and goes, I'm going to fix this thing. You're the problem.
That set us back for at least 9 months.
See that? 9 months.
And actually, some are related to challenges within my administration.
Uh-huh.
Now, I've been frank with New Yorkers that I'm not satisfied. I even used the word disaster to describe.
Yes, you did. You did steal my word, disaster. That's true. So again, let's be clear what she just said. She said, outside forces, which I did not foresee. So I'm the governor of New York, and I can't think forward past things. I'm not that smart. And also, stuff inside my administration. So I have bad decision-making skills. She's saying how bad she is. So let me ask you the question. Where's the I'm sorry? Where's the I was wrong? Where is that? What you'll never see, ever, in any of her things ever, is the I'm sorry or I was wrong. Never. You will never see that. She's never sorry. She's never wrong.
Drive the status quo. So today I'm here to announce an overhaul of the Office of Cannabis Management based on a review that was recently completed.
Oh.
I'm proud today to be joined by Commissioner Moy of the Office of General Services and First Deputy Superintendent Chris West, who will lead our cannabis task force within the New York State Police.
Okay, so she says, I'm going to fix things. And the first thing I'm going to do is more cops. That's the first thing. I didn't make it up. She just did it. The cannabis. So the first thing she's going to do is more cops and crack down on the people who are stuck in the broken system. So she screwed the system up so people can't get licenses. So now they open up illegal stores, and her first answer is not fixing the system or giving them a break at all, but just punishing them. That's the first answer. I wish I was making this up. It isn't. That's the first answer. He goes, and now I'm here to announce today to fix this thing that I broke, to fix this thing that I made. The thing that Larry Sharpe told me was a bad idea and has been screaming for 6 years is a bad idea. That thing that I did, that everyone could tell was going to fail, that other states have already done and failed. California, as she lies and goes, we're the first state to do it. California, Colorado, they've done it. So she had 2 examples and still screwed it up. And has a guy like me screaming every other day with a website full of answers, and she still screwed it up. Why'd she screw it up? Because she actually doesn't care. I don't mean to be mean when I say that. I'm saying that as reality. She actually does not care. It doesn't matter to her at all. Because in any case, all she will do is come back out here and put more money on it. I won't stand for this, is what she will say. She'll tell us how proud she is, how hard she works. She'll virtue signal and throw more money at it. And New Yorkers, you New Yorkers out there who vote for her, this is your fault. You keep accepting it. And it happened yet again.
Let me be clear.
I'll be clear.
There are deep-seated issues at OCM, issues that have limited its ability to fulfill its licensing role.
See that? There's issues at this. I just wish I knew who made up this OCM. Like who? If there was only someone who was in charge of, oh, wait, it's you. It's you. That's the best part. If only there was someone who could have made a better, a better OCM or someone who was in charge of it. I don't know, like a governor of New York or something. Oh, wait, that's you. If only there was someone who could fix this. It's you.
A complicated application process for prospective business owners.
Yes.
And unfortunately, this has overshadowed the excellent work done by hardworking staff.
Every time.
And I do want to commend
hardworking.
The rank and file, public servants who have put in countless hours.
Everything's countless.
Evenings, weekends, all committed to standing up this groundbreaking equitable approach.
See that? This
now,
is
the report that we're releasing today to the press and the public will be used as a guide to make much-needed reforms at the Office of Cannabis Management.
That sounds good.
My team has shared these findings with Executive Director Chris Alexander, who is a key player in drafting the original legislation and served as OCM's first ever executive director.
So this is the guy who came up with the plan, wrote it up, and then ran it for the first couple of years. This is the guy you decided to put in charge. This guy. So all these failures you're talking about, it's because this guy. Just so we're clear before we go forward, this is the guy. So what will his punishment be? He will be, I don't know, fined, sued, fired. What will be his punishment for how bad he is, right? What will be his punishment? I'm sure it'll be terrible punishment. Let's see. What's his horrible punishment?
Director, we're grateful for the work he has done to stand up to.
We're grateful. We are grateful that you suck so bad. You're terrible. Your plan was bad. Your execution was worse. Thanks. Only in government. And people say, Larry, why do you get so mad at government? It's the only place where you could publicly be responsible for failures of years. And she goes, yeah, thanks. Appreciate that. Here's your big check. Here's your check. So is he fired at least?
This new agency and this new market. Mm-hmm. He agrees there's a time for a new direction.
Oh, okay.
At OCM.
So he's fired.
And has graciously agreed to work with us for the remainder of his term to help implement those operational changes.
He doesn't even get fired. He gets to keep his job until the end of his contract. And he gets to help implement stuff. Why? He clearly sucks. Or does he? Or does he? I have a feeling he doesn't suck. I have a feeling it's exactly what she wanted and what people wanted. so they can keep the war on drugs going and pretend like they didn't.
And he told us he intends to pursue other opportunities at the conclusion of that term, which is in September.
Pursue other opportunities. So he screwed this up horribly, but there's another state government out there that'll pick him up again because he obviously has connections. And you don't have to be competent to be in government. There's the key. You can be utterly incompetent in government, and as long as you know people, get on the job. Exhibit A.
In a few moments, I will outline some of the operational changes we intend to implement going forward.
That's a good thing.
But first, I want to explain who we're fighting for.
Oh, you're fighting for people.
In the new report,
time. Okay.
You'll see testimonies from individuals who've been directly harmed by the operational problems that we've identified.
Okay.
Like one applicant for a retail dispensary in central New York, a Latino service-disabled veteran.
Wow.
Who's been paying more than $5,000 a month since November and has invested over $40,000 overall. This individual states that they've not received any communication from OCM since they submitted their application 6 months ago.
Okay, I want to be clear on what she just said. This guy's disabled, checkbox 1. Veteran, checkbox 2. Latino, checkbox 3. This dude checked 3 boxes, so she had to bring him up because of virtue signal. And she goes, and this guy had all these problems. He dropped 40 grand and hasn't had a response to his request for a license. 40 grand, he's a disabled vet. He borrowed that money, guaranteed. So he's spending now on interest on that loan and making no money, waiting for a government for 6 months. She said 8 months ago, so 8 months ago. Right? He probably got his lease earlier, paid, and now he's still going on, paying that. And the guy who's in charge of that guy doesn't get fired. That guy gets a nice recommendation and keeps his job for the next 4 or 5 months. He keeps getting paid by the government. And she says, thank you, we're grateful. And this guy is now ruined. Another small business owner ruined by Kathy Hochul. That's just one of many. That's one of many that she ruins constantly. And we wonder why people have illegal stores. In New York State, there's over 10,000 illegal stores. Let me say that number again. Just in New York City, there are over 10,000 illegal stores. Over 10,000. He's one guy paying 40 grand. He's the sucker. He's the idiot. You've just shown him. Play by the rules, get hammered. Just do it illegally. And here's the best part. You should. There should be no special rules on cannabis. I've been saying it forever. Let me ask you, if any New Yorkers out there. Since they've made cannabis legal, now there are a bunch of illegal stores. Yes. Where are all the deaths from the illegal stores? There's none. Where are all the horrible injuries from illegal stores? None. Not one in New York State. Zero. Donut. Nothing. Nobody's dying from illegal stores. Nothing bad's happening from them, but she will not get rid of this OCM. She won't get rid of this. It is not required. Why? You might say, Larry, it's crazy. Why does she not get rid of this thing? Clearly, there is no value to it. Clearly, it's been failing for months. Clearly, there's thousands of illegal stores. Clearly, nobody's dying from this. Why even do it? Why don't we follow what you said, Larry, and regulate like a plant and move on? Why? Because of all the jobs she's promised. That's the reason. All the jobs she's promised. That's the problem. All those jobs that she's promised people and that money. This is a cash grab.
And since then, they've watched other cannabis stores open.
Yep.
Indeed, an illegal one, just 1,000 feet from their operation. This is not discouraging for them.
Yeah.
It's absolutely unacceptable for me. So to that applicant.
Okay, where is your I'm embarrassed and I'm sorry? Nope, nowhere.
Applicant and the many others who've been let down. I want you to know we are starting to fix this right now.
See that? It's only been 8 months. You're just 40 grand in debt. Now we're going to fix it. Look, about 3 to 4 more months, the $6,000 to $8,000 per month, you'll be all good. No worries whatsoever. And you wonder why only the big boys win. And you wonder why only the big boys win.
Because these are the people the law was intended to benefit. And
you could have just let them alone. They were already benefiting. Here's what you could have done. This is what she's saying. The law was benefiting because of how the law was racially hurting black people more or non-white people more than white people. That's what she said. Okay. You could just stop the war on drugs and then let all the people who were in jail for cannabis-related issues out of jail. And since more of them are black than white, more black people get out. The white people also get out. I want the white people out also. I'm not against white people. Let them go out also. Yes. But more black people will come out. So your problem solved. End the war on drugs. Let them out of jail. Done and done. No. We now have to create more laws to punish more people because the only way to create equity is to punish equality. That's it. That is the only answer. No other answer whatsoever. User, thank you. Hold on. User has been banned for naughty words. Says, meanwhile, the triads grow in many states and process using slave labor. Yes. Yes. Absolutely. Yes. 100%. Thank you for that.
Here, the New Yorkers were fighting for. The actions we're taking today fall into three buckets.
3 buckets. Okay. We're
First,
good now. Tell me.
We're going to unclog the licensing bottleneck and immediately review hundreds of applicants who've simply been waiting for an answer.
So you're admitting that you've had hundreds of applicants, hundreds of them. So the one guy we talked about who checked all 3 boxes, there's hundreds more who are just sitting there hadn't had an answer yet. How many of those got an answer, but it was a bad answer? We're talking thousands now. You've been waiting for months, and now you're going to fix. So first step is we're going to review them. How long will that review take? This one so far took 8 months. How long is this going to take? Another 8? You could just say, rubber stamp, everyone is approved. You could just do that. You might go, Larry, wait a minute. If we just give everybody a license, maybe bad people will have licenses. That's true. Maybe they will. But right now, tens of thousands go without a license. If they had licenses, if you even got the bad people, you could remove their license. Oh, how brilliant is that? If you found people doing something bad, you could remove their license. Yeah, you could. You could assume people are good because right now they are. The evidence is in. There's no massive deaths from cannabis. No need. Nothing I'm saying is crazy, but she would never do it. Never do it, ever. Because she has to validate government constantly. There's nothing she will always do. She validates government constantly because she's in it. She has to validate herself constantly. She must always validate constantly.
Applicants who are required to apply with a lease, a paid-for lease.
So you can't apply unless you have a paid-for lease. They get to inspect your place. You can't do it out of your house or building. You can't do it that way. You must have a paid-for lease. You must support large landlords. You must. You must support large landlords. That's part of the deal.
Are still paying rent, hoping their license comes through. We're going to streamline the application process.
Streamline it. Okay, so now it'll just take 4 months.
Each application, a one-point person and shepherded through the process.
So to be clear, you didn't think years ago when you were drafting this terrible legislation, when I told you it would fail, you didn't think that this was going to happen? You didn't think that? Your awesome homeboy who you've just been so grateful for, he didn't figure that out within the first 30 days. He didn't go, holy crap, we're overwhelmed. Let's hire some more people or something. He didn't think about that. He did. He didn't care. Neither did you. You virtue signal like you care, but you don't. You don't. And it's clear. Months. Now it got embarrassing. Now you got people who check 3 boxes getting screwed over. That's not good for you. You're a Democrat. You got to make sure you check the boxes. Yeah, that's how that actually works. This is an embarrassment.
Communicate with the applicant and ensure that applying is as open and transparent and painless as possible.
Oh. Okay.
Second, we'll improve the communications with the entrepreneurs trying to gain access to this budding industry.
They're trying to gain access to this budding. Remember what I said when I was running in 2018? I said, why don't you just open it up If you like your dealer, you can keep your dealer. Done. I wouldn't be lying like Obama was lying when he did his Obamacare. I would be telling the truth. If you like your dealer, keep your dealer. Who cares? They don't need access. This is, again, she validates government. You don't have access to the industry unless I grant it. Who the hell are you to grant access to an industry? Who the hell are you to grant access to an industry? She believes it's true. She must validate her job. And what does that mean? As I told you already, at the end of this comes, I'm putting more money into this to create more government jobs for my friends. I will create more government jobs for my friends.
Many of whom are justice-involved individuals or veterans.
Justice-involved individuals. Ooh, I like that. Justice-involved individuals. I think she means felon. But that does sound nice. I like that. Look at that. Justice-involved individual. It is a good euphemism. I think if Mike Voss is watching, he's like, damn, another one of them. They're good at this, Mike. I tell you, Democrats are the best at these euphemisms. Republicans don't come close. Democrats are way better at this kind of stuff. Just better at it.
Or MWBEs. Soon, OCM will launch a OCM cannabis map to help applicants find locations for their stores and allow.
Look at that. Now the government's going to show you where you could put a store. Oh, so if it fails, does the government pay you? This is her answer. We'll put more money and do more. Just look, you should not do this. If you're going to do it, just run the government monopoly. Have the government own the cannabis and sell the cannabis. Done. Just why go through all? It's like so much more pain. You want to own everything. Just own it. Just take it all
The public
already.
And the state to verify that a store is legal. We're going to produce regulatory bulletins to inform the public of policy changes.
Is there anyone, and this is a serious question for you listening, is there anyone you know who partakes in cannabis who needs to know the regulatory norms? Anyone who needs, there's a policy change. Does anyone need this? No one does, except to avoid going to jail. So, if you were to remove the possibility of going to jail, you can remove all of this.
And hold statewide listening sessions to understand even more ways to improve.
Okay, you know who knows how to sell weed really good right now? Current weed dealers. How do I know that? Because they're making money right now. They don't need you to do a listening session. Not required. Look, how? Jesus Christ, why do we accept this? New Yorkers, if you're watching this, why don't you just want to vomit? Why don't you want to vomit? I don't care if you like cannabis or not. It doesn't matter. This is what now every industry. What happens when something new comes up? You want to sell cool Larry Sharpe Governor cups. Well, now we're going to have a listening session to see if Larry Sharpe can have a license to sell his cups. Then we'll have a listening session to see how he can do better when it comes to selling his cups. Why the hell do you care? I have an idea. I have an idea. It's crazy. Fix the migrant problem. How about that? Do that one. Leave this alone. Do that one.
Finally, we're going to transform OCM itself.
Oh, okay.
It's past time for OCM to move from a startup mode into a fully operational regulatory agency.
Did you hear how she just made that a startup mode? This is the first time government's ever regulated anything. This is the first time. Government's never regulated anything in the history of government. This is the first time that the government's ever regulated anything. So they had no idea how. All they do is regulate shit. You haven't figured it out by now? You will never figure it out. I'm not joking, right? All government's done is regulate stuff for how long? Decades, centuries, whatever. And now, startup, we didn't know how to do it. You didn't know how to regulate shit. That's all you do. If you can't figure that out, what's wrong with you? Well, here's the worst part, though. Okay, let's say you want to be a startup. Okay, do something new. if I'm a business and I decide I'm selling my cool Larry Sharpe Governor cups, I'm doing that, and I'm screwing up and I'm messing up and I'm making mistakes, who pays for that? I do. I'm the entrepreneur. If I screw up, I make mistakes, I pay for that. I got to pay extra money, or I got to pay more people, or I got to lose money, whatever. I pay for it. When they make mistakes, what is her answer? I'm not joking. Her answer is go to jail. I wish I had that. I wish I could run a new business. I'm gonna start selling cups, and if I screw up, you go to jail. It's brilliant. I'm in startup mode. Sorry, Gene, you gotta go to jail. I'm in startup mode. Craig, sorry, go to jail. I'm in startup mode, okay? Don't get mad at me. I'm in startup mode. Go to jail. That's what she said, and it's fine. Yeah, let's go to jail, startup mode. What are you gonna do? What are you gonna do? It's gonna ruin your entire life. And she's fine with it. And worse, New Yorkers are fine with it. And I wish what I was saying was hyperbole. It is not. It's real. People are getting fined. People are losing their houses. People losing their jobs. That one guy lost 40 grand and he is a disabled veteran. How much money is that guy making? And he lost 40 grand already. Probably going to lose his house, all gone, because she was in startup mode. And that's her excuse. So now we're going to fix it. My piece again is, your government, and you don't know how to do this? Even though I warned you and told you? And then you might go, Larry, who the hell are you? Here's what I know. Kathy Hochul doesn't read my website. I'm sure of that. Her people do. I'm, again, not making this up. Her people copy. And if you follow me, you know her people copy a lot of things that I do and say, my verbiage. They absolutely copy. So her team does read my website and listen to me. One person team right now is watching this, I'm sure, because her team does watch me. That I know. Again, she doesn't. She doesn't care about me, but her team does. Well, your team knows what I'm talking about. You didn't think? Why? Because you don't care.
One with stronger internal controls.
Oh, okay.
And
More
a
control. That'll work.
Organizational structure.
Okay.
We're going to prioritize hiring and training new staff.
Bingo.
Strengthening key agency operations.
Thank you. Every time, every video, it always ends with more government jobs. Whether they fail or whether they succeed, more government jobs, guaranteed.
Fill senior roles focused on agency operations.
That's her friends.
Customer service.
Yep.
Internal controls. And as the market.
Or there's another option you could do. Another one. You could literally give it to a chamber of commerce to find an answer, or allow the cannabis industry to create its own trade associations. Either one you could do. You could just create, literally, say, hey, why don't you guys create a trade association? Do what they did with the movies and the games. Remember that? They said, hey, regulate yourselves or we'll regulate you. And movies said, we got you. And they made their own movie. They made a regulated body. People are happy with it. The games said, regulate yourselves or we're going to regulate you. And they did. And the gaming industry regulated itself. And it's fine. Is the world ending up people dying because of movies and video games? No, they regulate themselves. You can do so. Now, I don't like the threat, but I'd rather have a threat and give the industry a chance than to impose upon the industry. If my options are threaten the industry to regulate itself or force regulation, I will take the threat. Cannabis, you got 6 months to create some kind of regulation. Done. But Michael Voss, you are paying attention, of course, as always. You are watching. Hey, Mike. He says, but Larry, then government wouldn't gain more power and have more cronies and businesses in power. Yes, it's what I always say. A lot of you guys think this is always about direct money. It very rarely is direct money. It's usually through jobs and job placement and positions of power and authority. You are correct. Mike Voss, of course, watching. Yes, that's the issue right there. She wants to make sure she's in charge, and she's in charge of these jobs and these positions of power. Exactly correct.
Market grows, so will the need for compliance and enforcement.
Why? Okay, that sounds smart, right? Well, the market grows, so will the need to grow for compliance and these regulation, of course. Now, if you were to say that, believe that, you didn't think about that 2 months ago, 6 months ago, 2 years ago. You didn't think that? But I go one step further. The industry is already a multi-billion-dollar industry across the country. Where's the regulation? Where's compliance? Doesn't exist.
So we plan to grow those teams as well.
Oh, we're going to grow a lot of teams. How much money?
Now, those measures will significantly enhance OCM's ability to serve New Yorkers.
Doesn't serve New Yorkers.
And they're building.
Okay, that does not serve New Yorkers. It serves the government. Let's be very clear. OCM does not serve New Yorkers. It serves the government.
Building on actions that we've already taken.
Okay.
We're taking the illegal cannabis shops that destabilize our neighborhoods.
Okay. Blatant and complete lie. She goes, we're taking down these illegal shops that destabilize our neighborhoods. Okay, they don't destabilize neighborhoods. Stop. Your weed dealer does not destabilize the neighborhood. That's not what it does. You know what it does? You know what it does? 3,000 new migrants who can't work, who don't have jobs, that destabilizes a neighborhood. When you can't give money to the local people because you got to give it to migrants because of some legal rules which you put in place, that does destabilize. We'll watch that happen. When there's massive crime or the subways don't work, that destabilizes. Some weed store doesn't destabilize. It's a lie. She's just making that up. Not a thing.
Taking them on with the plan that padlocks doors,
Well, that'll solve
allows localities to pass laws of their own, and goes after the landlords who knowingly rent to illegal shops.
So right now in New York State, New York City, across New York State, businesses are fleeing in droves. Thousands upon thousands of them are leaving. If you walk down New York City streets right now, you will find so many for sale, for lease, for sale, for lease. Tons of places are ghost towns now. They're leaving. Why? Massive increases in shoplifting crimes. Massive increases in shoplifting crimes. And of course, people can't afford it. They can't afford retail and shoplifting. They're leaving everywhere. Walgreens is leaving. I mean, like places like that. Dwayne Reed's leaving. They're leaving New York City. So landlords are desperate. Now, if you are a massive landlord, you're in a huge building, and your bottom, stores are out, well, it's not going to end. Why? You've got 100 units. You'll raise the rent in your 100 units, and you'll make up for it. You'll be fine. You may even own, if you're very wealthy in New York State or New York City, you may own 2 or 3 buildings. You're good. You're going to get, you're taking a hit, but you're not going to starve. Your kids are still going to private school. You'll be fine, right? You're taking a hit. The world's not going to end. What happens when you own one building here in, say, Queens or Brooklyn? One building. That's all you own. It's a building that maybe you and your family built. Your family was immigrants from Italy or Mexico or Greece or wherever you came from, right? Maybe Haiti, Jamaica. You came here. You got a bunch of money together, and you bought one building. Maybe the building you lived in. You bought that building. Your family works as maintenance in the building, and you've got one retail store at the bottom. That retail store you can't rent that out. You might lose your building. I'm not joking. As always, this punishes the little guy. The big guy who's got 100 units, 1,000 units, 500 units, look, of course, he takes a hit. I'm not saying that he didn't take a hit. He does. He takes a hit if he doesn't have his commercial piece rented out, his retail store not rented out. Takes a hit, but not crazy. Not a crazy hit. He's still good. The guy who owns one building, the family, I should say, that owns one building, you're an immigrant from India, Pakistan, you came over here 30, 40, 50 years ago, your family got enough money to buy a building. That's a common story in New York City. For those you don't know, common story. Family comes someplace else, came to New York City, they put a bunch of money together and they buy a building. That's a common story. You're done. You're done. Does she care? Of course not. Those people aren't giving her lots of money. Of course not. I got to grab Mike again. Another good one. Mike says, kids can't read, rent's too high, businesses closing, crime's up, National Guard in subways, illegal have gangs smuggling guns and building terror cells, but the weed store is a big issue. Thank you. Yes. Absolutely. Yes. Craig goes on to say, BlackRock can buy it and pay Kathy for running the roofs of the tower. Yes, and that's what's happening. The big businesses now buy up the smaller buildings. They now have a bunch, and they raise the rents, and they don't care. And they write Kathy a check for 40 grand. 100%. That's every day. But she cares.
I fought for the authority in my budget to be able to do all this because we know the fewer illicit shops, the more room there is for licensed stores.
Utterly not true. Made that up. The vacancy rates across New York State are all over. You can, if you have enough money for rent, you can rent someplace. Again, made up, not true at all.
Which are overwhelmingly minority and women-owned. We want them.
Yes. So you're shutting down minority and women-owned businesses. Yes.
Them to flourish and to grow.
You could leave them alone.
We're also launching a task force to go after illegal suppliers.
Oh.
And I'm proud to announce
She's
that
proud.
the state police will take a leading coordinating role with this operation beginning on Monday.
So this is about a month ago. So now we're doing more of a crackdown on her. She won't allow you to get a license. Literally, she said it. 8 months, 40 grand, no license. So the answer isn't let's leave these people alone until we allow them to get licenses. No, put them in jail. Don't you try to get around my shitty system that I made up that no one can get around except for the wealthy people who got their licenses up front. I'm not joking. You know it's true. The wealthy got their licenses up front. So now the wealthy is saying, hey, governor, I gave your OCM a bunch of cash. What are you doing for me? It's protection racket. Get these guys out of my neighborhood. And so she's cracking down.
This task force will deploy teams of investigators and analysts all across the state.
Nothing wrong with a little more surveillance and a little more people kicking in doors. What's wrong with that?
Closely with OCM enforcement.
A new police force. OCM enforcement. We need more people with badges. That'll solve the problem.
With the aim of closing as many illicit stores as possible over the next 90 days.
So let's ruin as many Black, Latino, local business owners as we possibly can. Well done.
We're not just cracking down on the bad.
But she loves you, okay? She loves
actors.
you.
We're working to support the good ones as well.
Ooh, the good ones. The good ones are the ones who follow her rules, who, by the way, the good ones are the ones who follow her rules that are impossible. That you have to be able to wait 6 months and spend 40 grand before you make $1. Those are the good ones. Oh, no, wait, no one can actually get it except the people up front who got it. So the good ones are the people who paid her off early up front. I wish I was joking. I'm not.
The Cannabis Control Board approved a further 101 adult use licenses, bringing the total number of approved licenses in 2024 to over 400.
What? 400? 400? There's probably more than 400 weed dealers in my neighborhood. I wish you understand some people. Just for those of you who don't know, if you live in New York City, you know that I'm not joking when I say that. But if you live in New York, if you don't live in New York City, just in the borough of Queens, where I live, there are over 2 million people. There are more people in Queens than a bunch of states. New York City has 8 million people. That's more than like 40 states. Yeah, 400. 400.
And
She's proud of
today,
that.
we've made even more progress.
More progress, okay.
Having approved over 122 more licenses, bringing the total for this year to 541.
We are killing it. Look at us go.
Let me say this.
Tell me.
Today is not about pointing fingers.
Is it ever? Is it ever? She actually brought it up. It's about pointing fingers. Why not? You pointed a finger at and you're still pointing at everybody who knows they can't get a license, so they open up a store, right? This is what happened in Colorado, right? And this, if those of you don't know the story, there are many reasons why Colorado failed. This is one of them. They said to everybody in the world, we're going to legalize cannabis. We're going to legalize it. And everyone went, yay. And people who had things like criminal records and problems, they decided they're going to come to Colorado. Then Colorado's way of doing it was so insanely hard, most of those people couldn't do it. So they were stuck. They sold everything and gambled on a cannabis business because many of them were felons, because they were drug dealers, right? Most of them in cannabis. They thought, I can't get a job anyplace else. I'll go to Colorado, start over. Well, they couldn't start over because the government made sure they couldn't. New York State did the same thing. That guy who's a disabled veteran and so many others, they were trying to start their life over. You don't want to point fingers, but you will. To the illegal store owners, you point all day, you just said so. And the illegal and the bad landlords. The landlords who are getting crushed because of your shitty policies. Companies are leaving our state left and right because of your shitty policies. That's the reason. But you're pointing a finger at them and not at you. Who is the one who made this? You did. Who was the one who picked the leader? You did. I'm not pointing one finger at you. I'm pointing two right at you. You did it. Of course you don't want to point fingers because it's your fault.
It's about pointing OCM in a new direction and implementing solutions that work for everyone.
Look at that.
From New Yorkers eager to open their own legal shops to growers who've waited too long for a market for their harvest.
A market for their harvest. Because there's no market. Because nobody wants weed until it's legal.
To the New Yorkers who are sick and tired of the unlicensed retailers who've taken over their neighborhoods.
It's made up.
I'm grateful to Commissioner Moore and her dedicated team who will continue to be a trusted advisor to me as we implement the report.
Continue. She sucks. Your team is garbage. Your team is garbage. And they still let's keep your jobs. Your team is clearly garbage.
Report's recommendations. And to my team in the executive chamber, they will.
Joel says, how do Larry Sharpe and Michael Voss even know where the computer is? He knows. Joel, for those of you who don't know, she said there are black kids in the Bronx who don't know what a computer is. Mike and I both are black and grew up in the Bronx. So, yeah. Actually, Joel, I don't know what I'm doing now. I have my white friends doing all the work behind. You can't see them. My white friends right now are doing all the work, Joel, because I don't know what a computer is. So you're correct. It's true. Mike doesn't know either. He has a couple white friends right now, and I think a couple Puerto Ricans who are helping him out right now to take care of some issues. I got an Asian kid and a couple of white people right now who are taking care of me. Mike's got some white friends and a Puerto Rican kid taking care of him. Otherwise, we can't do it because black people from the Bronx, you're right, do not know what a computer is. Thank you, Kathy Hochul. Joel, thank you for that. I appreciate that. Very good. Yes, very good.
Take a larger role in this process in the interim. So together, we're taking a much needed steps, long overdue, to make cannabis program in New York successful and work as promised. It promised to deliver prosperity and opportunity that we know it can, and do so equitably, efficiently, and effectively.
There we go.
Thank you. And right now, I'll turn it over to Commissioner Moore to add some more details.
I don't want to hear about Commissioner Moore. He's not going to add any value. But again, this is what we talk about constantly. Every time what she hasn't said is how much money. She's going to drop another $10 million on this easily. Easy day, she'll grab $10 million on it. Easily she will. Failure upon failure upon failure. You might say, Larry, that sounded pretty good. But you know what? She didn't do that. She didn't do too much of that, did she? She did more. She did more. Here is her talking about her next failure. Again, next failure. And that is congestion pricing. Now, if you remember, again, years ago, I admitted, and I think most people would know, that our MTA here in New York City is broken and requires some more infrastructure. It requires all these things. Absolutely. Yes, absolutely. But I said there's another way of raising that money. And I mentioned two ideas. One of them was leasing out naming rights to bridges so that we can make some more cash from that way. And the other way I talked about was allowing freight to come into New York City at night when we run only half the amount of subways. This way freight can come in and they can pay for those things. Again, helping us out, raising money, companies paying eagerly, no extra raise, nothing like that. She said, no, wouldn't do congestion pricing. Those you know what congestion pricing is, that is when you come into some parts of New York City, you pay extra. You pay extra. And I said, that is a disaster. That is going to crush the poor, the working poor. It's going to crush people who need to drive into the city. Remember, if you know New York City, the wealthy already live in Manhattan. They don't pay the price. They have drivers or they walk, right? Many people are wealthy walk to work. That's the thing. If you're in finance in New York City, many people in finance actually walk to work because they live in a very expensive place, which is right near their job, right in a very expensive area. Wall Street area is back in the day. Now it's Park Avenue, right? Upper East Side, the Upper West Side. That's simple. They can do this all day long. Wait a minute. You didn't think about that before? Yeah. But she, of course, had to change a little bit on this one. Change a little bit on this one. She did. She had to change a bit on this one. And here's her changing a bit. And of course, you'll know she's going to be very sorry. Because she's always sorry.
Good morning. I want to talk to you today about issues that are very much on the minds of New Yorkers.
Oh, okay. I like that.
First and foremost, I understand the financial pressures you're facing.
You do?
Over the last 5 years, New Yorkers have seen the price of groceries alone go up an average of 23%.
It's true.
Think about the cost of a dozen eggs, more than doubling from $1.20 to $2.86 all over our country.
Look at that.
Housing prices have increased by 17%.
Yes. Going up.
The cost of childcare has gone up almost 20%.
And if only we could find the person who was running New York State during that time, that maybe, wait, that's you. It's you. You were doing it. Huh. That's kind of weird. In the past 5 years, she's been the governor and lieutenant governor of New York State during that time. It's weird. I wonder who was in charge during this time of all these bad things happening. Oh, wait, it's you. Huh.
And the strain on working and middle-class families is just too much.
It is. I agree with you.
That's why, since becoming your governor, one of my...
Okay. See, now she's saying, since becoming our governor, she's been our governor now about 3-4 years. Is that about right? 3 or 4 years, give or take, something like that? 3 years? 3 or 4 years, whatever. She's been our governor for that long. So during that time, she did lots of things that will help us. Oh, wait, no. She said it's been going for 5. It's still going up. Huh. Does it take more than 3 years or 4 years to make something work?
Priorities has been to address affordability.
Oh, well, you suck then. Your priority has been to address affordability? Well, then you suck. Because you have not done that at all. Yet again, failure upon failure. You're terrible at your job. Now, of course, on my website, it literally said opportunity, safety, and affordability. And she said that on her inaugural address. Again, proving that her team actually reads my website. So you said you focused on it. No, you just started focusing on it in 2022 when I mentioned it. And you didn't focus on it, you just started talking about it.
And put more money back in your pockets.
Oh, see that?
That's why I fought to raise...
She's been putting more money in our pockets.
Minimum wage.
Oh.
Tie it to inflation.
There we
Doubled
go.
tuition assistance. Held the line on income taxes. And invested billions in affordable childcare.
Look at that. She has spent more money on childcare and forced minimum wage stuff, which hasn't worked. And people still keep living in New York. People have been leaving New York for literally decades now. Now it's been decades. New York, for many years, had the least growth. It wasn't losing public, but it was growing at the slowest rate for years. Now it's actively losing. So people are still leaving 300,000 per year. What you're doing, Your Majesty, is not working.
Our policies must support everyday New Yorkers, like our small business people, police officers, firefighters, teachers.
Now she goes small business and then goes right to all government workers. Because the reality, she must always, as I would say, she must validate government always. Remember the things I was talking about? She must validate government. She must virtue signal. She must talk about how proud she is, how hard she works. Those are the 4 things she must do always. And at the end, it ends with, here is how we create more jobs. We saw it in the last video. We will always see it. We'll see it in this video. So now she's validating government and virtue signaling.
Healthcare workers, truck drivers, and not add to their financial burdens.
Okay.
So let's talk about congestion pricing.
Let's do that.
Which would impose a $15 charge on cars entering Midtown and below, beginning in just a few weeks.
Yep.
Now, it was enacted 5 years ago to achieve 2 essential goals: reduce traffic and emissions in New York City.
Yep. Now, again, reduce traffic and emissions. No, my plan was to allow freight to come into New York City on the subway lines at night. What would that mean? Freight trains running on electric lines, not 18-wheelers and trucks coming into the city, which by default would reduce both traffic and emissions without charging you anything. Yes, my plan, which I talked about in 2018, 6 years ago, before the 5-year thing you talked about, would have dealt with this problem already. I brought it up already. It was already there. Now, she pushed it literally for years. She fought for congestion pricing.
And provide a funding stream for much-needed capital investments in public transit.
Mm-hmm.
It was also enacted in a pre-pandemic period.
Oh, this is the excuse. See, we didn't know because pre-pandemic. That's not true. That's a lie. It was talked about then, but it was pushed off because of your dumb lockdowns.
The workers were in the office 5 days a week.
Yep.
Crime was at record lows.
Yep.
And tourism was at record highs.
Yep. Those are all done.
Circumstances have changed.
Now, when did those circumstances that she's talking about change? If I remember right, they changed in 2020 and 2021. You were governor in 2021, weren't you? You were governor then. That's when they changed. So you watched them change, and you retained and kept all the horrible Cuomo policies. You didn't change any of them. You kept them all. You were lieutenant governor. You didn't say a word when you were lieutenant governor. You didn't back out. None of that stuff. You jumped right on board. You were Cuomo Jr. Now you're worse, but you were Cuomo Jr. All good. If you didn't grab people's butts. I'm sorry. I should not invoke the name of the traitor king, grabber of butts, grandma slayer, King Cuomo the second of his name. I should not invoke his name. I apologize, Your Majesty. But in any case, you were happy to do it. Now all of a sudden, you're like, I don't remember. It was bad. You were there.
You must respond to the facts on the ground.
Okay,
not from the rhetoric from 5 years ago.
Oh,
so after careful consideration,
yeah,
I have come to the difficult decision that implementing the planned congestion pricing system risks too many unintended consequences.
So to be clear, I'm going to be clear. She's been thinking about this for 5 years. I'm not joking. She just said it. 5 years. She was lieutenant governor when it first started to come up. She fought for it as governor when she became governor. Absolutely. All of them. She was fighting for all of that during those 5 years. Everyone knows she was fighting for it. Now she figures out, wait a minute. It's literally weeks before she was like, oh, yeah, this is a bad idea. How incompetent must you be? How incompetent must you be? That nobody said, hey, this is really a bad idea. I know I did. I was against congestion pricing from the start. I gave you another answer. I gave you a serious plan to solve this problem without adding taxes, that you care about so much, and your emissions you care about, even though, by the way, New York has the lowest emissions of all the states. We are number one. We are the least free state in the union, worse than California. Take that, California. It's the number one. We're the least free state. We have the most people leaving. We're losing population the fastest, but we have the lowest emissions. Is that a win? I guess that's actually true. Yes.
For New Yorkers at this time.
Oh, okay.
For that reason, I have directed the MTA to indefinitely pause the program.
To indefinitely pause. That means I'm going to cancel it. And here's my question. So you're going to cancel it. All right. 2 weeks it was going to go into play. So you know what's already happened? Why would you cancel it now? You might go, wait a minute, guys. Well, wait a minute. She canceled. Yeah. Why? Why would you do that? There's always a reason. And it goes by the same thing. We've already installed all the cameras. Yes, all the cameras are already installed. All of them throughout Manhattan. They're already installed. So since all the cameras got installed, all the jobs she gave away for that, all the contracts she gave away have now been paid. So we paid for congestion pricing. We, meaning the tax, not her, obviously. The taxpayers paid for congestion pricing because they paid to have all the cameras installed. And now what? No congestion pricing. But did she repay her donors? She did. It's always about the jobs. She repaid her donors. Our taxpayer dollars paid her donors to have those contracts to put all those cameras set up. Well, now we got all these cameras that were supposed to be checking out, now we're going to do it up all those cameras. I guess law enforcement will do it. Yes. So now law enforcement will use all of those cameras, not to catch crooks. Not that. New York doesn't do that. We don't catch crooks. That's not what we do. We will use the cameras as a profit center. Speed cameras, speed traps, parking, whatever. We'll use all those cameras to make money. Now you might go, wait a minute, like, really? Yeah. Now, who's going to do it? We're going to hire much more cops? No, we don't care about our cops. For us, New York City, cops are they're just profit center. That's all we care about in New York City. They're profit center. We don't care about our cops. So we only care about them raising money. So what are we going to do? Those same companies that installed the cameras will now monitor those cameras, and they'll get a fee. They'll get a cut. And some of you don't know this. As they start, doing like speeding tickets and parking violations, all that, they get a cut of that, like a credit card company, get a little cut. So they'll still make money. So now she cannot have the congestion pricing, which makes everybody angry, still have paid off all her cronies and still give them money from taxpayers, actually from fine payers, because she keeps taxes low, just increases fines and fees. So the fines and fees go up, her friends still get paid, no congestion pricing. That's some next level shit right there. Well done. And she can act like she cares. I care so much. She would pay everybody, and we get nothing from it. And nothing from it at all.
Now, I want to be clear.
Be clear, please.
My team worked into the final hours to find a way to implement this.
Because they worked hard.
Because the goals of congestion pricing in terms of reducing traffic and pollution are important.
They are.
But hardworking New Yorkers are getting hammered on costs. And they and the economic vitality of our city must be protected.
And you didn't know that 5 years ago, when I literally said this to you 5 years ago, 6 years ago.
We cannot ignore the facts. Literally the year after the enactment of the law, New York City was the epicenter of the pandemic. It was the first and hardest hit of all U.S. cities.
See that? It's because of that.
Many predicted New York would not recover.
That was 4 years ago. And New York has not recovered. Let's be clear. New York has not recovered. It has not. So predicted it wouldn't recover because it hasn't.
Well, thanks to hardworking and committed New Yorkers, those doomsayers have been proven wrong.
They have not.
And while our recovery has been stronger and swifter than anyone imagined, it is by no means complete.
Thank you. It's because we haven't recovered yet. Okay, so you say we recovered, but then say it isn't complete. Correct. We have not recovered. New York State has not recovered. We are still in a budget deficit. We are still in huge amounts of debt. We still have people leaving our city. We still have people leaving our state. New York State lost over, and this is as the IRS reported, lost over $20 billion in income due to migration. And that's migration out, not in. Migration out. New York State is still losing population, and we gained 200,000 migrants, and we're still losing population. Yeah, there's no recovery, my friend.
And we cannot afford to undercut this momentum, and I won't allow this delicate recovery to be jeopardized.
You are the one who fought for this. My God, she's like, I'm fighting. If you go back a month, she's like, this is the right thing. She was literally on TV. I'm not joking. She was literally on TV defending congestion pricing. Like a month ago from this, she was literally on TV defending people saying it's a bad idea. It's going to fail. No, it's the right answer. Blah, 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 blah. The right answer. Now all of a sudden it's not.
Anyone walking through Midtown Manhattan or riding the subway, they've seen it.
Yes.
Streets and train cars are crowded Tuesday to Thursday, but much less so on Monday and Friday.
Yeah.
Office attendance is down compared to before the pandemic.
But you just told me we recovered. We're not. New York City specifically, New York State also, and actually it's the entire country, but New York State specifically because of how big we are. We have a commercial real estate bubble that's about to explode. There are people, I'm not joking, who are selling their buildings. Think about how broke you got to be or how worried you got to be to sell your building in New York. They're selling buildings. Take the building. Who's buying it? Why do you think BlackRock owns everything? Now they just buy buildings. They buy the entire building. Why? People can't afford their commercial buildings that nobody's in anymore.
With many workers.
To be clear, we're at about 50% capacity. 50% from 100%. 50%. Well, we never 100, but we were in the 80s and 90s. We're at 50% now. That's recovery. Sorry.
Only commuting in 2 or 3 days a week at most. And Manhattan currently has a commercial vacancy rate of over 20%. This reduction in foot traffic.
Okay, that's not true. Okay, over. It's like 50%. The only reason why it's not actually 50 is because they've rezoned stuff so it's no longer commercial anymore.
Has had an enormous ripple effect with fewer people patronizing restaurants, delis, and dry cleaners.
Yes.
The idea behind...
I've been saying this for years. You just figured this out? Roger says, abolish easy passes, Metro cars on railroad, Metro North tickets as the MTA budget is bigger than most states. You know, this is a valid point. I actually think that we could have a system that if we funded it effectively, we could make all of it free. And I don't mean free like free stuff, free. No. I mean we could raise enough money with enough ideas that I brought up that we could raise enough money for all of these through big business, spending the money and happily, eagerly spending money for this to make it free. It could be done. Not free through taxpayer, free through sponsorships and advertisements. You could do it. I think you could do it, Roger. I think it's doable. It is doable. But again, this goes back to the first thing. Then the government doesn't control it. Right? Then the government couldn't control all the union jobs. They'd be private sector union jobs and not public sector union jobs. And she doesn't get all those votes. If you had a private sector union, she doesn't get those votes automatically. She gets them if they're public sector unions.
Congestion pricing is that'll encourage many current drivers to shift to public transit. But there is a third possibility that now poses a greater threat than it did at the program's inception.
Tell me.
Drivers can now choose to stay home altogether.
Yeah. Yes. Because they don't want to go into the subways, which are dangerous and scary.
Telling employers they need to work fully remote again, or they might just change their patterns and skip the visits to the city on a Saturday with their family or going out to a theater or a restaurant.
So you could not focus on this and instead focus on a nicer, better subway system or safer, cleaner streets or less crime on the street, less dirt in the streets. You could do that. That would be something you could work on. You could do that. That's just maybe I'm crazy, but you could do that.
At a time when inflation is still cutting into New Yorkers' hard-earned wages, the concern is that many would do exactly that. Or that one more added cost would make residents rethink living or working here altogether.
Yes, been happening for decades. You just figured this out.
Hurting our recovery even more.
All right. I'm going to talk about some hard-earned wages. Some of you have some hard-earned wages. You do. I'm not going to ask for them. I'm going to ask you to click the button that is like. Click the like button, damn it. If you haven't already, I'm giving you some gold. Click the like button. Be good to me. Click that button. If you watch this on Twitter, retweet this right now. Just retweet it. It doesn't hurt you. Just do it. Don't be mean. Do the retweet. Click that like button. It does matter, every one of them. Now, if you do want to give me some of your hard-earned money, you can. You can super chat me on YouTube, Larry Sharpe, if you want to. Up to you. Become a member on YouTube if you want to. $49 per month. Just click that join button right there. Click that join button if you want to. And you can go ahead and join on YouTube. $49 per month. Helps me out tremendously. Or you can always super chat me if you want to. All of those work, whichever you prefer. But the thing that does not cost any of your hard-earned money is the button that is like and the sharing that you can do on Facebook or on the retweeting you can do on X/Twitter. They all matter. Please do them.
More. Let's be real.
Let's be real.
A $15 charge may not seem like a lot to someone who has the means.
We've been talking about this. It's like someone who just read a history book and just figured out something and now has to tell everybody how awesome it is. This is what she is. She just figured out something cool and now she's talking about that. So yes. Yes. Straight Chillaxin says, you're on Patreon. I am. You can also go to my Patreon if you want to, patreon.com/Sharpe Way. And it is $10 a month. That's the most expensive one. Please do that. I would appreciate that. Every little bit does count. So please do that. All of them matter. One of the reasons why I can't do this as much as I'd like to is because I have to actually go make money. I have to get those wages myself. So I got to go out there and I got to fight. So yes, I'm still doing that whenever I possibly can. So yes. Liberty Lady asks, will there be a Larry Sharpe AMA this weekend or next weekend? I'm going to try to do one this weekend. I will try. By the way, tomorrow I'm doing a Libertarian Drinking Coffee live at 3 p.m. And I am doing a debate. I'm going to moderate a debate between the one and only Michael Leibowitz and the one and only Jeremy Kaufman on communication and goals in the Liberty Movement. That will be Friday at 6 p.m. Tomorrow, Thursday at 3 p.m., Libertarian Drinking Coffee Live, Joe Jerrigan, who is running for State House in South Carolina. I'll be doing that for him tomorrow at 3. And then maybe an AMA coming up this weekend, this Saturday or Sunday, one or the other. So, yes. I will be doing that also. I'm taking back.
But it can break the budget of a hardworking or middle-class household. It puts the squeeze on the very people who make this city go.
She's literally making the argument that was against her 2 months ago.
The teachers, first responders, small business workers,
validating government.
And given these financial pressures, I cannot add another burden to working and middle-class New Yorkers.
You care.
Or create another obstacle to our continued recovery.
You are spending so much time shutting down illegal cannabis shops. I get it.
Now, let me be very clear.
Be clear, because you were saying exactly the opposite shit last month. So be super clear now.
Remain committed to these investments in public transit. We need to make the MTA service more accessible and reliable.
No, you don't. No, you make it cleaner and safer. That's cleaner and safer. That's what you need. Libertarian lady says, I'll let Liberty, I'm sorry, says, will your Tuesday show be back at 1 p.m.? Yes, I'll be back Tuesdays, 1 p.m. on WYSL, Rochester, New York, next Tuesday at 1 p.m. Yes, I'm back on that too. Yes, I am back. I know I've been out for a while. I am now back. Yes, I am back.
Without the projected revenue having to come just from congestion pricing. And given the lawsuits and many other attacks on this process, we've already had to prepare for the possibility that congestion pricing could be delayed.
So that one you knew about, but you didn't figure out the cannabis one? We
have set aside funding to backstop the MTA capital plan and are currently exploring other funding sources.
Oh, okay.
We remain fully committed to advancing all the improvements that New Yorkers have been promised. That includes immediate investments in reliability and accessibility, track repairs, new signals.
More money. It always ends with more money. Have you noticed that? It always ends with more money.
Adding more elevators at subway and commuter stations.
We don't need elevators. Safer and cleaner. That's the critical piece. Safer
it means
and
security
cleaner.
Cameras and other technologies to
More
improve safety for riders throughout the system. And it means moving forward with transformative projects like the extension of the 2nd Avenue subway.
That took 15 years. The 2nd Avenue subway took 15 years. Again, I wish that was hyperbole. No, absolutely. Yes. Philip says, like with Obama, when she says, let me be clear, the next thing is going to be a lie or it's going to be spun. Yes, accurate. Thank you, Philip. Yes. Dan says, I missed Wednesdays with Kathy's, but wasn't Rizzy Tuesday. Yes, for those of you who don't know where I get this from, there was a book a while ago called Tuesdays with Maury. If any of you remember that book, so we read it. And it was a great book with a guy talking about, it was a sad but also inspiring book. It was a gentleman who knew he was going to die. I think it was Lou Gehrig's disease, ALS. I think it was that. It was a disease that would slowly kill him. I think it was that. I don't remember. It might have been Parkinson's, but I think it was ALS. So he knew he was going to die. So he decided that he was going to kind of live his life and do all of his things before he got too sick. And that's the talk. And every Tuesday, this guy spent, this writer spent with this guy, Maury, who was dying. So it was called Tuesdays with Maury. So I took that joke and I used to do Tuesdays with Andy back when Cuomo was the governor. So every other Tuesday or so, he would do something like this, and I would do Tuesdays with Andy. But he's gone. So I can't do Tuesdays with Andy anymore. So now it's Tuesdays with Kathy. But now it's whenever I can. So it becomes Wednesdays with Kathy or Fridays with Kathy or whatever. So yes, it is often Wednesday because I happen to be available on Wednesdays usually. So then it's usually Wednesdays with Kathy. But yes, it was originally Tuesdays with Andy. Once in a while, I do Fridays with Eric, which is our mayor here. So thank you for paying attention. You were correct. You get a star. Yay.
And the Interborough Express. We will tackle congestion in other ways.
You will.
Building on our partnership with the city of New York to make the quality of life better for all residents.
This is just stuff she says means nothing.
Let me be equally as clear.
Ooh, more clearer.
My commitment to a greener, more sustainable future is unwavering.
That's the virtue signal. Okay, we hit that. We virtue signaled, we validated the government, we did proud, hard work, we covered it all, and now we're just adding more money. Okay, we hit all five, we're good.
I have been more committed to combating climate change and protecting our environment than any governor in our history. And I'll continue working with our legislature
Teddy Roosevelt
to make urgently needed investments, including a nation-leading Cap and Invest program that'll hold major polluters responsible for their carbon emissions.
See that? We'll make sure that no business is here. You'll be no business in New York State. You thought you'll survive?
Dollars for clean energy. I've directed historic investments to develop offshore wind power along the coast of Long Island.
There we go.
And to advance a $6 billion project to tap into hydropower in Quebec.
Let's just make sure that we can buy stuff from Quebec. That's the right answer. Let's not have our own energy. Let's buy some from Quebec. That's a good answer.
Bring it to the city.
See that?
We're investing in electric vehicle charging and shifting cars and vehicles in New York to all electric over the next decade.
Because everybody wants to be forced to buy an electric car. People love that.
Electrifying buildings and homes.
See that?
And we have much more to do.
Okay.
I want to say this.
Okay.
I recognize and am so grateful for the individuals from the MTA, the community, the advocates, for their countless hours and hard work.
Countless. It's always countless. You can't count the hours. There's so many of them. There's only 24 in a day.
And we will continue to pursue our environmental objectives, even as we pause congestion pricing.
Just pausing.
We will continue to find strategies to address congestion.
See that?
And we will continue to find solutions.
I gave you solutions. Just use mine.
Both our planet and our people.
Help out the planet.
This decision is about doing what's right for the people who make our city thrive. It's about standing up for the hardworking men and women who get up every single day, do their jobs, and just want a fair shake. The little guy who feels no one listens to him.
The little guy who keeps leaving New York State.
I'm here to say, we are listening.
See, she's listening.
This decision is about you.
See that?
And to those cynics,
it has nothing to do with literally the car association, automobile associations, who gave her tons and tons of money right before this. I wish I was joking. Literally, I don't know if this is live in this one, but there was actually a reporter who actually asked her that question, who said, "Do you think we're stupid?" Literally, he said that to her.
Who question my motivation.
Is that on this one? I don't know if it is that one.
I approach every decision through one lens.
I'll have to find that connection.
What is best for New Yorkers?
No, you don't.
And we need to make sure our solutions work for everyone, especially those who are struggling to make ends meet.
See.
Finally, this is not a decision I make lightly.
Oh, it isn't.
From the time I took office, I have been investing and in monitoring to help the state's recovery. And
okay, no, she hasn't. She's done with this one. I have another one. But literally, there was a piece of it was a reporter literally said, "Do you think we're stupid?" Right then, just insane, and she literally also was supporting it. It's crazy. Let me move to the next piece if I could. I got a couple for you. I'm not done. I got another one. This one is talking about how awesome she's fighting crime in New York. I'm not, and this was recent. I'm not even joking. This one, she's talking about crime this time. Yeah, she's the crime fighter too. She got it all. She's doing all. She's now a crime fighter. So let me show you this one. You'll love this one. Some of you were saying your governor's bad. My governor's worse. Just saying, my governor's worse.
Before I get into today's news about our public safety numbers, I want to start with a quick update on a series of recent hate crimes that have targeted Jewish New Yorkers.
Right.
Monday night, a group donning masks took over a subway.
Okay, she went right to virtue signal. She was like, I'm virtue signal off the bat. Let me go right here. See, if she's hitting virtue signal immediately, what she's saying is garbage, because that becomes like her fog. Let me just throw this up. So now I virtue signal. You can't say bad stuff about me. Otherwise, you're an anti-Semite now. So she went right to this one. She doesn't always do Jews. She can do black people, Hispanic, whatever. She do whatever. This time she went right to, here we go. Boom. They're killing the Jews. Not happening. Don't get me wrong. There's anti-Semitism. There's always anti-Semitism in New York State, all over the world. Of course there is. But there's no dead Jews in the streets, no dead Muslims in the streets in New York City. Not happening. Not happening. Listen to what she says. These horrible things.
Scaring riders and chanting things about Hitler and wiping out Jews.
They scared the riders.
I don't need to say this again, but this is vile and disgusting.
It's true. It is.
Then on Tuesday, several members of the board of the Brooklyn Museum had their homes vandalized in horrible ways.
Yep.
And these abhorrent acts of anti-Semitism have absolutely no place in America, but particularly not in the state of New York. So the State Police Hate Crimes Task Force is working with local police to investigate these crimes.
Okay, I want to be clear. I need to be clear here. That's not a hate crime. Making Jews feel bad is not a hate crime. Making black people feel bad is not a hate crime. Making Hispanic people feel bad, not a hate crime. Punching an Asian person, which we do see happen, that's a hate crime. Yes. Making somebody feel bad should not be your number one priority as governor. As governor. That's her. She started with that. Protecting New Yorkers, that's what it says there, fighting crime, and she began with people on a subway made Jews feel bad. That was her open. She opened with that. She opened with they're getting killed, they're getting punched. That would be an actual crime. That'd be like, in the South, when they lynch black people, let me start with the idea that there's some people who use the N-word. Are you kidding me? Using the N-word versus lynching? It's fine. Terrible. Oh, my God. Sorry.
And I have directed our state police to increase patrols in sensitive locations all over New York. They'll be stationed at high-risk community sites to ensure that everyone is protected.
Okay, high risk. All right. Literally, people are being stabbed to death in New York City. I'm not making that up. There is a massive increase. There is a decrease in gun crimes. That's true. In gun violence, it's true. That's happened across New York State. There's a decrease in gun crimes. There's an increase in stabbings. There's been more than one stabbing spree in New York City this year alone. So she's worried about somebody made people feel bad. So let's put cops on the streets because people feel bad. No, let's put cops on the streets to stop the stabbings. No, that doesn't virtue signal. That doesn't virtue signal. And virtue signaling is far more important than stopping people from being stabbed.
And I want to say how proud I am of the NYPD's rapid and effective response.
Oh, NYPD,
to the incident on the subway.
There we go.
I recognize that subway safety is something that many New Yorkers are concerned about.
Now subways. Okay.
Back in March, Mayor Adams and I launched a 5-point plan to attack subway crime.
I remember that 5-point plan.
Part of that plan, I made over 750 members of the New York National Guard available to help patrol the subways.
I remember that. Yep.
I believe that our multi-pronged approach in partnership with the mayor and City Hall is beginning to work, both in reducing crime and making people feel safer.
Aww.
We'll talk about these efforts at an event in the near future. I also want to be very clear. We will not tolerate individuals using masks to evade responsible for criminal or threatening behavior.
What?
My team is working on a solution.
She just said, okay. I'm going to get triggered. I think I already am triggered. She just said, we're not going to let people use masks to hide. You made them wear masks for years. This is literally your doing. You did this. You made them wear masks. You forced them for years. And you're like, well, this is, again, a problem she creates. And then I'm going to stop this thing. How you did it? There is massive amounts of shoplifting in New York City. Across the country, obviously, there's a lot. Massive in New York City. One of the biggest reasons is, well, two reasons. There's several reasons, but two of the biggest ones is, one, people can now walk into a store wearing a mask and it's okay. And two, because we outlawed plastic bags, they bring their own bags in. So you go into a store and put your own stuff into your own bag with a mask on, no one can say anything. If they do, you're a racist. You can't say anything. You can't say anything until they walk out the door. It's too late then. That's her policies. Literally, we made the perfect combination for people to be criminals. She did it. I want to be clear. She did it. She could have said no. She could have got rid of all of Cuomo's laws when she became governor. She could have backed out. Nothing. For those who don't know, there were laws in New York City, by the way, That's something like if there's more than 3 people together, you can't wear a mask. So there were laws to stop bandits, like from the 1800s. They existed in New York State for those reasons. People should be walking around with masks on because they're going to rob people. Duh. Yes. We're not going to put up with it. You're the one who put the rules in place. Wow. Why do people support her? Why do people support this? Holy shit, this is terrible.
But on a subway, people should not be able to hide behind a mask to commit crimes.
Yeah. Yeah. So why did you force them for 2 years? Why did you set up the exact right thing to do for them to become criminals for 2 years?
Spoken to Mayor Adams, who's been outspoken on this issue with the MTA, with local law enforcement, and beginning conversations with.
Are you now going to force people to unmask? Is that now your thing now? You're going to force them to unmask now? You're going to have the mask police?
Legislature, since this takes legislative action, which we're considering. There's obviously a problem here. This will be dealt with.
Oh.
And there's legitimate reasons why people wear face coverings, mask coverings, head coverings.
No, there actually aren't. You made that up. There was before, then you made it up. So you could have just let people do it the way they wanted to, when they wanted to, but you didn't. You forced it, and that's where you got it.
From COVID or the flu, religious reasons, delivery drivers protecting themselves from the elements, and individuals involved in our festivities, our Caribbean events, our many events, Halloween. I assure everyone, we understand how complex this issue is.
Or you could have just left the shit alone 2 years ago. You started this. You started. It was not a problem. No one was having a problem with this 3 years ago. Nobody, well, 4 years ago now, 3 or 4 years ago, nobody was. You did it. Your fault, and you're blaming others, and now they're going to go to jail. Again, you know, I wish I had that kind of world where I could screw up and others go to jail. That's amazing. You know, in my business, I'm a consultant. So if I screw up some consulting and someone makes a mistake and mess up because of what I said, they should go to jail. I shouldn't be held responsible whatsoever. They should go to jail. As much as I screw up, when I just change my mind, like I say, you must do X, then I change my mind and go, now do Y. When you do X, you should go to jail. I love that. Man, it must be good to be governor.
And we're just listening to people and addressing their needs and taking them very seriously. So we'll be reporting more on that in the near future as well.
Oh, see?
So I want to transition to our main focus of the day.
Well, main focus.
As I've said from the beginning, public safety, job number one.
And I have told you that you made that up. She has said more than often, my number one job is to keep New Yorkers safe. No, it is not your number one job. Not at all. It's not in your job description. It's not in the New York State Constitution. It's not in your oath. You just made that up. Your number one job is to enforce the good laws and support the actual rights of New Yorkers. That's your number one job, to support the rights of New Yorkers. But that's like your number 75 job in your world. Your number one job is keeping every New Yorker safe. And again, we're leaving and dying and being slapped and stabbed. So you suck at that anyway. So that's dumb. I wouldn't say that. I might go, my number one job is giving New Yorkers government jobs. That you're good at. That if I was her, I'd be like, my number one job is to give New Yorkers who are good to me jobs, because she's good at that. So at least she could then say, see, I'm the best governor ever. But everything else she sucks at. Why would you say that? She's doing that. Now, so no, I've used this analogy before. It's like I get in a bus and I want to go to the city in a bus. So I get in the bus driver turns around and goes, okay, it's my job to teach all of you Chinese. Dude, no, it isn't. It's your job to drive the bus. No. It is my job to teach all of you. That's my number one job as a bus driver, to teach you all Chinese. Dude, no, drive the bus. If I want to learn Chinese, I'll do it on my own. I'm on a bus. I want to go to the city. Go drive the bus. Number one, Chinese. No. And I keep telling her the same thing. No. Your job isn't to keep every New Yorker safe. That's not your job. You're not our mother. I mean, she thinks she is. You're not our grandma. I mean, you think you are. But she's not. She's a governor. Defend our rights. That's your number one job. But she hasn't figured that out. And that, by the way, is in her job description. That, by the way, is in her oath. The stuff she made up is not.
Drive down the crime statistics, which were frightening. when I first became governor, and only escalated a short time afterward until we took real action. So I'm going to continue giving New Yorkers up.
Okay, the reason why the crime went down in New York State is because all crime across the country went down after you got rid of lockdowns. Crime spiked in 2020. All crime spiked in 2020. Why? What was happening in 2020? Oh, yes, your dumb lockdowns. Crime kept going in 2021. She said, kept going. Yeah, why? There were still lockdowns, so you literally put on the street a bunch of young men who couldn't go to work and couldn't go to school. Couldn't go to work, couldn't go to school, sitting outside waiting for the black market to pick them up, and it did, because that's what it does. You increased gang warfare. Of course you did. It had nothing to do. You gave young men nothing to do and told them to wear a mask. Crazy, isn't it?
Updates on our progress. New York State Police Superintendent
Phil says it. Schools opened up and youth crime dropped. Duh. Yes. It's not because she's so smart. That's not it.
Stephen James and I are here to update New Yorkers on our efforts, first of all, to combat gun violence.
Gun violence.
Both the progress we've made and also what we're doing to make that work.
What I can't stand is how many people think that's important. What do I mean with that? You know, we lowered gun violence. Okay, have you lowered overall violence? Well, no, we haven't. No. And there's true. There's what? Over 3 felony assault is actually up. So violence hasn't gone down. Gun violence has. Now, I want to ask yourself this question. If your loved one is killed by a knife or a gun, do you feel better if it's a knife? Do you go, yeah, they killed my son, but, it was a knife, so it's okay. Of course not. You don't care. Rape is up. I'm not joking. That's in New York State. Rape is up. New York City. Ooh, city, not state. City, rape is up. Yep. So if you're raped at knife point or a gun point, do you go, well, when they raped me, it was a knife, so it's okay. No. So you arrest more people with guns, which is what happened, because you were doing the checks for people coming into the subway. So you arrest people with guns, so there's less gun violence. But stabbings are up in New York State. You know what's down? Drug crime. Yeah. You know why drug crime is down? Because weed's legal. Yes. You know what else crime is way up? Robbery and burglaries. All over the place. Why? Because we can walk into stores with masks on. Yeah. Absolutely. Yes.
We're focused on upstate New York right now because we've partnered with more than 24 police agencies to drive down gun crime, which is now approaching 50-year lows.
Yeah.
It's our top priority. Good. It's the fundamental function of government, keeping people.
It is not the fundamental function of government to keep gun violence low. That's not. Look, it's good. I would like all violence to be low. Yes, that'd be great. But isn't the fundamental job of government to keep why do people buy this shit?
People safe. Our other work is to improve quality of life and affordability of New Yorkers.
No, protect our rights.
But first of all, everything depends on people feeling safe and being safe. All of our other accomplishments are built on that foundation.
Really?
And when I first came into office back in
Okay. People are leaving New York State in droves. You suck at what you do. People do not feel safe in New York City. I know that. I'm a New Yorker. People do not feel safe in New York City. You are failing at that too.
2021, there were loud and misguided calls to defund the police.
I remember.
Even as gun crimes were surging in the wake of the pandemic, we had to do something about it.
Yeah.
Defunding police never made sense. So
De Blasio did it. He dropped about $1 billion off. He didn't defund them completely.
Opposite of that, secured unprecedented funding for the police and for
Okay, there we go. Validated government, more money, more government jobs. Okay, she's hitting them all. Has she hit hard work yet?
Violence prevention programs that actually work.
They do.
This includes the gun-involved violence elimination initiative. We call it
the gun-involved violence initiative. What?
GIVE.
The gun-involved violence did something. The give. Well, that's great. So I guess these people who were justice-involved people now went to the give. The gun-involved. That sounds amazing. But rape is up, and felony assault is up. Burglary and robbery is up. So I'm glad they're not using guns, I guess, but those things are up.
Just a recap on how that works. Through the Division of Criminal Justice Services, and I thank Commissioner Rosanna Rosado for all her hard work on this. And
the hard work. Okay, we got hard work.
We disperse funding.
Isn't it funny how she does the same, like her stuff, it's like a rom-com, right? It's a romantic comedy. You know how it goes. Hers is the same too. It covers a virtue signal, validate government, she's proud, hard work, more money for more jobs. Every time.
28 law enforcement agencies.
We've done 3 tonight, and everyone has exactly the same thing.
In 21 counties across upstate New York. They use that money to hire personnel, buy equipment, pay overtime, and enhance training.
See that?
All these agencies have a series of crime-fighting measures with a track record of reducing gun crime.
Yes, gun crime.
Strategies like hotspot policing, focused deterrence, and street outreach.
Okay, this was a week ago or so when she did this one. That's great. However, what she doesn't really get is literally a week ago. Was it about a week ago? About a week ago. A cop had his car carjacked. 2 dudes, both with guns. One, according to them, had an automatic weapon and machine gun. Now, I don't know if it's actually that. I don't know. That's what they said. They count everything as an assault weapon, so I don't know. But anyway, it wasn't a regular handgun. So there was specialized guns used, and they carjacked the cop. I'm not even joking. And she's like, gun violence is down. Violence is down. They're beating up cops and stealing their cars with guns. Now, obviously, that can't be true because guns are illegal. So clearly, I don't know. Did she outlaw? What does she outlaw crime? That might work. I don't know. It's not working.
And based on the numbers today, it's clear that investing in police and in these strategies is now paying off.
See that?
Between 2021 and 2023, gun homicides in our upstate give communities went down 37%.
So what happened between 2021 and 2024? Oh, wait, the lockdowns ended. The lockdowns ended. But it's because the gun thing, the give program or whatever it's that. It's not because lockdowns ended. It's not because that. If you're measuring anything from 2021, everything is down. Everything is down. 2021 was lockdown heaven. So, of course, crime was horrible. Everything, all the crime's down from 2021. The question is it down from 2019? And the answer would be no, it's not. It's not down from 2019. If 2019 is what it was before the lockdowns, so if you're telling me it is lower than 2019, I'm impressed. If you tell me it's down for 2021, everything is. Everything is. We had massive lockdowns. It's terrible.
The homicide rate outside the city of New York is at its lowest point since 1970.
Outside the city of New York.
And over that same period, shootings resulting in injury also dropped by 35%. That is the momentum we're carrying into 2024, year to date.
Okay, let's do it.
Shootings resulting in injury are down another 28% on top of the previous decline.
Look
all
at that.
Across our give districts, compared with the same
our give
period
districts.
Last year. So even our historic lows are getting lower.
Because of the give program.
Gun-related homicides are down 20% just from last year, again, building on the previous decline. So this is extraordinary.
It's extraordinary.
Let's reflect on what these numbers truly mean.
Tell me.
That means that real lives, for once, are untouched by the scourge of gun violence. People can raise their...
Okay, let me try it again. Rape is up. So what you're telling me is when they rape, they don't use a gun, they use a knife or a bat or whatever. Still kind of bad. Yeah, still bad. Right? And Mike, of course, tells me, thank you, Mike, for coming through. Factually, per New York Give report, gun crime still above 2019 levels. Yes, that's my point. Nothing is better than 2019. Our tourism, lower than 2019. Our income, lower than 2019. Everything's low. The amount of riders in the subway, lower than 2019, right? Nothing's better from 2019. It's all better from 2021, Mike. You're right. 2021 was everything was a disaster then because they locked us down for over a year by then. Yeah, of course.
Their children chase their dreams and make a difference in their community in a safe environment. And I'm proud of that. I'm proud of the partnerships, the strategies, and the investments in police that are
proud, hard work. We got everything.
We're
right.
not here to take a victory lap.
One sentence.
Never have, never will.
That's good. You can't take a victory lap because you suck. You don't have any victories. It's tough to go take a victory lap when you don't win.
Claim that
you kind of got to win first
because it's real. It's always been with us. One victim of gun violence is one too many.
One too many.
That means we still have plenty of work to do.
So much work to do.
Even with crime trending down, we fought to maintain unprecedented funding levels for gun violence prevention.
Yes, there's the new jobs. We're going to make people who are you're part of the GIVE program, and we got to have more. The problem with New York State more than any other state right now is every single job that's given out is somehow government funded. That's the problem.
We got it done, securing a record $347 million more.
There's the money, $347 million.
Back to GIVE in today's news.
What's today's
Today,
news?
I'm announcing for the second straight year, we're investing $36 more million in
$36 more million.
That'll support 28 more agencies across New York.
28 more agencies. 28 more agencies. Holy crap. So the answer is always more government jobs, another 36. Where does this $36 million come from? All this money just keeps coming so they can create more cops. More cops. Or you could let people have their own firearms. Just imagine if you would. Just imagine that you have your own firearms in your own store, in your own world, wherever this is, and now somebody comes in. And they come in to take your stuff. And they don't leave. Well, they do, but they leave in an ambulance or a body bag. One of those two. Would you need so many more cops? You wouldn't. You actually wouldn't need so many more cops at that point. But she doesn't think that way at all. More cops.
Let me put that in
more
context.
Programs. Do it.
The first funding level, we set aside $18 million, my very first budget, $18 million.
Okay.
At the time, that was the most ever budgeted. Then we doubled it, bringing the funding up to $36 million. So once again, by committing another $36 million,
Jesus Christ,
we're sending a strong message to New Yorkers.
That we want all your money. We are sending a message. Give me every dime. And we're going to keep making sure that there is no money at all in the private sector, that it's all in the public sector, that government runs every single thing, that you may not defend yourself. You may not grow. All we can do is make sure we have more government workers. Do you understand what a problem this is as we keep private sector businesses leaving our state every single year and we keep creating more government jobs to say we're making jobs? It doesn't work. It is walking towards failure. Illinois has seen this already. New York is right behind them. This is the wrong answer. Again and again and again, it's the wrong answer. I'm embarrassed by this sometimes. It's so bad. And let me swap out if I could. She makes me angry, I know. She makes you angry too. But I got to swap because I do want to put this piece up because I really love this part. It's a very interesting part I want to show real fast if I could. And this is actually from Forbes, believe it or not. See if I can do this right. This is actually showing how she was confronted. She was actually confronted by a journalist.
Governor, I mean this with due respect.
I mean this with respect.
How stupid do you think New Yorkers have to be to believe that this congestion pricing decision wasn't politically motivated?
He just said, in case you didn't hear him, how stupid do you think New Yorkers have to be to think this decision on congestion pricing wasn't politically motivated? He actually asked that question to her. Watch her stupid response.
I will never think that the voters and constituents of New York are stupid. Those are your words.
Yes, you will.
Never mine.
They are yours.
All I know is I encourage you to go to the next diner with me, and I'll probably be there Monday morning. Sit with me and watch the people come over and thank me. That's all I need to know.
Okay. I remember Cuomo would say this stupid stuff too. It's not true. Cuomo would say things like, you know what? My friends would tell me, dude, you don't have any friends. So stop out with your friends told you something. You don't have any friends. Cuomo had to have any friends. He doesn't have it. He has associates, people who use him, people he uses. They're no friends. She says people in diners come and thank me. Yeah, if you gave them a job. Otherwise, no, they don't. New Yorkers don't thank her. New Yorkers don't like her. Stop that. Like she's in a diner. Oh, thank you for no, they don't. The privileged people who she actually gave jobs to, they thank her, but that's it.
It's all I need to know. And if they were saying, we love the idea of paying more money to come into this diner because I live outside in another borough and I'm not taking the subway today, I haven't heard anyone say that.
They didn't say it 5 years ago either.
Not heard a single small business owner say, I'm really looking forward to my New Jersey customers. The hardware store that was featured in the news just a couple of days ago, the owner who says it's going to increase the cost of deliveries. I'm going to have to pass it on.
They said all those things years ago too. She is embarrassing. She couldn't answer the question because it was embarrassingly bad. She's terrible. Let me hit the last one of a clip for tonight. I got one more for you tonight. This one is her talking about the stores that she is helping. I know I had a lot. I've been gone for a while, guys, so I had to make up and give you a couple, but they'll all have the similar concept.
Good morning. Good morning.
Now she's talking about the illegal cannabis stores because that's number one.
All across New York, there's a change in the air.
I'm
not talking about the heat wave. The mayor and I have spoken enough about the heat wave. We hope it goes away quickly. Everybody stay cool. But New York State is rapidly building the most expansive, equitable cannabis market in the nation.
Equitable, we're on to virtue signal. Okay, we got that. We're building an equitable, and I'll say it again. I said it in the first time. It already was equitable. It was egalitarian. It was equitable. If you had cash and somebody had weed, you could give them cash and they would give you weed. And they didn't care if you were a man or a woman or what your gender was, or you were Jewish or you were Muslim. They didn't care what your religion was. If you were black or white, they didn't care about your race. They didn't care. They said, do you have cash? Yes, I do. Do you have weed? Yes, I do. Let's make a deal. Done. It was perfectly equitable. And we know that actually it was not even equal. It was equitable because more black people and people of color were in that business. How do we know? Because more of them are in jail because of it. You put them in jail. You're the one who put them in jail. So we got it.
One that uplifts Black and brown New Yorkers who have been victimized by the war on drugs.
Which you could just end. You could just end it.
It delivers opportunities to underserved communities. And
which you're now crushing by shutting down illegal stores that are all in these communities.
Cracks down on the unlicensed retailers who've taken over our neighborhoods. Ultimately, our law enforcement efforts are about more than seizing power.
Are they though? Are they though?
They're about restoring power to the people who deserved it and still do. So let's give that a round of applause.
Let's virtue signal. And validate government.
So many partners.
So we did virtue signal. We did validate government. So we still got to worry about three other things. We have to be proud, hard work, and have more government jobs. Those are the three things. Remember, we got always those five. Everything he does is those five. We did virtue signal and validate government, proud, hard work, and more government jobs.
The true believers.
Okay.
Ones who never gave up. We walk through and start today talk about tangible results.
Ooh, results.
Delivering for the legal cannabis owners throughout our state.
The legal ones who overpaid me. The ones who gave me campaign contributions, my people, they got it. We covered those guys.
And I first of all want to recognize our great.
You poors, you don't get to smoke weed. I'm sorry, you can smoke it if you buy it from my people. You don't get to sell weed.
Great mayor, you'll be hearing from him in a moment. Mayor Adams, thank you for standing side by side together to say no more. No.
Mayor Adams? Damn. She loves that. We say no more. And then stuff keeps happening.
No more. It is unfair.
It's unfair.
That our new businesses starting out, people suffered and struggled and staved and scrimped and finally had that chance.
And you made sure they couldn't get a license. Nicely done.
We're being flooded by the illegal operators who made it almost impossible for them to.
Okay, all the illegal operators, for those of you who don't get this, she acts as though no one sold weed in New York State. People have been selling weed in New York State for literally decades, if not centuries. I don't know how long it's been, but for a long time, they've been selling weed in this state, cannabis, for lots of years. They've been doing it. They were just doing it not out of a storefront. They were doing it at their house. Or a big thing in New York City was bicycle sales. That was a common thing. So now they're trying to do it right by your rules. Go to a store, and you're punishing them.
Earn what they thought they would and to keep their doors open. That era is over, and I thank you for your incredible partnership, Mayor Eric Adams. Thank you so much.
So don't focus on New York State's corruption. Don't focus on New York City's corruption. Don't focus on migrant problems. Don't focus on rent. Focus on shutting down local stores selling weed to local people, owned by local people. Do that.
Much again. Felicia Reed, Executive Deputy Director and the Acting Executive Director of OCM. Felicia Reed is up for this job. I want to thank her. You need to get to know her. She's an extraordinary leader, and I'm so grateful.
I gave her a job.
Partnership.
Gave her a job.
Christopher West, the first Deputy Superintendent of the New York State Police, will tell you what we're doing.
Cops,
at the
more
state
cops.
level as well.
Good.
We stood up a task force to go after the illegal cannabis shops all over New York to compliment what the mayor is doing.
There's over 10,000 in New York City, by the way, just New York City.
And you'll also be hearing from Leanne Mata, the CEO of Matawana. She has not stopped smiling since we started enforcing the laws, the new laws that we'll talk about, because she has seen her business grow by, was it 100%, you said, since the enforcement started, the illegals were taken out of her neighborhood?
So hold on. I want to be clear about this. Literally, the government enforced the monopoly. So people were buying weed from other stores that were illegal, right? Because I guess they liked what they were doing better than hers. Well, then the cops came in, shut down illegal stores around her. She's now the only store there, and it went up 100%, which I love that. I'm a business consultant, and what I would like the government to do is arrest all the other business consultants in New York City, and my business will double because they'll just arrest them all. How come I can't have government arrest all my competitors? That would be amazing. I want my governor to arrest all my competitors. In fact, not just that. I want the president to arrest all other people who have podcast shows so I can have the only show on YouTube and you all have to watch me. And I can suck. I can be terrible. I'll just have the government arrest all my competition. And she's proud of that. Look, the sister here in the red, I'm not mad at her. She paid her license, whatever she did. She gave her money to the government. And now she wants the protection racket that she paid for to do its job. Right? That's what she wants to do. I'm not mad at her, and she's making cash. Congrats to you. I'm mad at the government who went, yeah, I'm going to arrest all your competitors.
That's what we're talking about.
Yeah, we're going to make sure that no competition exists except government.
But it doesn't happen just by us alone.
No, we got to arrest people.
Partners in our legislature.
Yes, we have to pass terrible laws to make sure we arrest people. And we got to have snitches in the community that we pay and bribe to get rid of all those stores. So that too.
Thank all of them. They are recognized, but our senators and our assembly members who also brought the message from their districts back to Albany and said, we need to stand together. We need stronger enforcement tools. This status quo can be no longer. And the city council members as well. Thank you for having united.
I want to say to all you city council members who did this in New York City, shame on you. You are an embarrassment to your community. One more, I hope you're watching. If you are a city council person who got behind this, shame on you. You are an embarrassment to your community.
United force against the illegal cannabis shops and standing up for their young entrepreneurs. We've just been waiting for that chance to live the American dream. Thank you to our legislators. Thank you.
Businesses are going out of bodega. People are getting stabbed and beaten up in New York City. That just happened like yesterday. You're like, you got to support these guys.
And all the advocates. There's one word I hear over and over, and it is excitement. People are consuming.
Phil says, a guy on Instagram said even the delis are selling weed and mushrooms to pay the high rents. Yes, the rents will keep going up, so you know what we're going to worry about? Shutting down illegal stores. So now the rents go higher. Every time you shut down a store, that landlord is not getting rent. Well, if that landlord has only one store, well, now he's losing that. And if you and they padlock it, you padlock the store, not only is the landlord not getting that much rent, but he's not getting rent, period. That landlord don't have to sell his building. Who will buy it? BlackRock. Does she care? No, she wants that. She wants that.
Growers are excited. You're going to hear about some of the customers of Leanne. Growers are overjoyed that they can finally have a market for their harvest.
Because people who grew weed never had a market before. Are you high? She must be smoking some now. What is wrong with her? Growers have always had a market. You just arrested them. If you didn't arrest them, they always have a market. A market's been here for decades, if not centuries. You should just not arrest them. You made the problem, and now you're trying to solve it. You could just stop.
Big growing areas upstate New York, they're excited about this. And civic leaders and community leaders are talking about the economic transformation that has been long over.
Okay, the reason why these civic leaders care, why would they care? Because these civic leaders all run nonprofits. I'm not joking. This is the actual scam. Why do so many of the civic leaders in these communities support people like her when all she does is destroy their community? Why do so many civic leaders stay in power when their communities are devastated? Why do some of the same people in charge and in power over neighborhoods that have been destroyed for decades and are still in charge? Because she gives them all jobs. I'm not joking. When you create the new cannabis, blah, 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 or the 28, agencies, she goes to those people and says, who need to give a job? And they go, oh, I got to give my friend Louis a job, my friend Jamie a job, my friend Paul a job, my friend, Sally a job. That's what actually happens. So he gives out jobs. Well, then those people love him because he got a government job. That's how she keeps them. That's how those people stay in power. They get money through jobs. It's the mob is what it is. It's literally the mob. I don't want to, I literally, it's so funny. Donnie says it. She knows. She goes, mafia-ish. Correct. Yes, that's what it is. I'm not joking when I say this. That's how it actually works.
Do as these businesses deliver and bring resources that we can now as a state also reinvest in these.
Aha, there is the key, the tax problem. The tax problem. That's the big issue. This my money. That's the problem.
Neighborhoods. And these small business owners, my God, they're resilient. You're the ones who make New York so fascinating. Thank you for holding.
Then why won't you support them then? Why do you devastate them?
Because new day has arrived. It's a new era for the cannabis industry right here in the state of New York. This is a pivotal moment, without a doubt.
Not at all. Phil says, as an Italian, I'm offended by her saying my culture. The mafia is our thing. That's funny, Phil. Thank you for that. That's good.
Now, we know the rollout has not gone as smoothly as we would have hoped.
No, it hasn't.
Before, but that's the past. We look forward.
That's the past, guys. We look forward. I know I have wrecked this state. I know I've crushed small business owners. I know more people keep leaving. I know I'm the reason why we have mask and crime and why bail reform failed and why cannabis failed and why the lockdowns failed. I know I'm the reason for all that, but that's the past, guys. That's the past. We look at the future. I know I'm responsible for all the high crime. I'm responsible for all the high taxes. I'm responsible for all the high rents. I know that. But that's the past. Come on, guys. That's the past. How about if I said that? I know I was a criminal and I broke the law, but that's the past. Don't put me in jail. You wouldn't do that at all, would you? Of course not.
Many people struggle. The struggles need to be over.
Yeah.
I want to say it's up to all of us to get it right.
Oh,
and I'm so glad to be joined, as I mentioned, by Felicia Eve, the executive director. She just took over this role on Monday. And guess what? She's still with it. So thank you very much. She is uniquely qualified.
We gave her a job.
She has a wealth of experience in government and a deep background.
She has a wealth of experience in government. So the last guy that you brought in. So's the last guy.
And overseeing complex operations.
Wouldn't you rather have someone who knew the weed business? Wouldn't that be better?
No one is better suited to meet this moment than right
That's
now.
not true. Literally anybody is.
Perfect leader to assist us as we transition and work with Tremaine Wright, who's also been working so hard to get this right. I want to
working hard. Okay, we got the working hard part. Okay, we did working hard.
We worked together back when she was elective office.
Did she do proud already? She did virtue signal. She did validate government. She did hard work. She did proud. She did hard work. She did hard work. So she did okay. Now waiting for where's the more money for more government jobs.
I know how much she cares about her neighborhoods. I want to thank you for your leadership as well. But we're on a cusp of a better tomorrow. OCM is making the necessary reforms, the way they do business.
Okay.
Better results for our small businesses, unclogging the licensing bottleneck, streamlining the application process, improving communication.
Morgan, Director of Operations, Willie Nelson.
Your status, where it's at.
Love that.
Likely to be approved or not. Should I invest any more money, any more time, any more energy? Just let me know, right? Just give people answers. And hiring new staff to empower.
And you couldn't figure that out before.
To do what they wanted to do all along. And to make sure that our compliance is working. Now, let's talk about enforcement.
Okay, where's the cash?
This was the barrier.
This was it.
Success. How do the legal businesses thrive if the illegal ones are dominating?
She literally said this was the problem. Okay. She just said, well, this is the biggest barrier, is that we couldn't lock people up and lock them up and we couldn't do all that stuff. No. The barrier was your licensing system sucked for 8 months. Well, that's not the problem. The problem is you couldn't arrest people. She says that. Wow.
The market. They got a head start. They jumped out of the box.
Okay, we've been selling weed in New York State for decades. They've been out of the box since what? 1902? What are you talking about?
There they were, renting the spaces, dotting every street corner and all the spaces in between.
They were there already. What are you talking about?
Guess what they're also doing? They're marketing to our kids.
What?
Okay. Children should not be going into a store buying Hostess cupcakes, puff mallow, or sugar cookie pebbles sweeties. I mean, this is designed for one purpose.
You are a piece of garbage, Governor. How dare you say that? How the black market, if anything, would have already been marketing to kids, wouldn't they? You tell me you couldn't have done that from out of your house? You couldn't have done it on the street? What are you talking about? Pebbles, fruity pebbles. What are you? Do you know? Do you guys happen to know what group of people eats fruity pebbles and cereal, sweet cereals like that more than anybody else? It's not kids. It's millennials. And they don't eat for breakfast. They eat it as snacks. They eat it as dinner sometimes, whatever. It's millennials. People who are like over 25 and up to 40. They're the ones who actually buy this. Who takes flavored vapes? Is it kids? It's adults. Who buys more candy? Kids or adults love candy. You see it all the time. Adults love sweet stuff. What are you talking about it? It's sweet and nice because when you get high, you want the munchies. That's why. But you're so either stupid or ignorant or just a straight up liar. This is absolutely not true. There's literally no issues with kids smoking weed any more or less than there's ever been. This is literally just fear mongering to keep the war on drugs going, to put more black and brown people in jail. Shame on you because you're a liar. If you would just say, you know what, I don't like black people, I want to put them in jail, I'd respect you more. At least you just tell me I want to put them in jail. Fine. You won't. You won't. You literally are lying. Nothing she just said is true. It is an ultimate lie. There's no evidence whatsoever that this is true. None. You cannot find one piece of data that shows this is true because it's not. It is a blatant lie. Her team should be, and her team is made up of black women too. God, you're embarrassing yourselves. What is wrong with you? God, what is wrong with you? Utter lie.
That is to get our young people hooked early on and get them wanting this and craving this.
100% lie. The food industry does this like there's no tomorrow. Why aren't you banning the bad foods then? The food industry does it and openly does it and tells you this and knows they're doing it. Weed people don't do this. This is for the people who smoke weed and get high. Yes. Yeah. Morgan says people on Snap that can't afford healthy meals and stoners. Yes, stoners eat this stuff. Yes. Correct. Morgan, yes. And everyone who knows the world at all knows that's true. God, I can't. And he's taking, you're right. Joel says she's taking social media too. Yeah. You know, Mom, hey, you're not my mom. Worry about my rights and not worry about what my kids are eating. I have 2 kids. I don't need your help at all. I don't need your help at all. Jesus Christ. She's so terrible.
That's not allowed in the state of New York. Not under.
Well, then if it's not allowed, then why are you concerned? If it's not allowed, you already made a law against it. It's not allowed. They're not 21. So all you do is just see, do they let kids buy it, and you can arrest them. Why did you shut the store down? You shut the store down because you decide that these things are for kids. Because you decided that. Not because kids are buying it. Do you see kids buying it? You don't. There's no evidence of it at all. But here's why I know that kids aren't dying or kids aren't getting up with this. Here's why I know. Because there's no data. If there was any data that showed that kids were dying from eating whatever edibles or something, if there was any evidence, she'd be screaming that all day, all night. She's not. No evidence. She made it
the
up.
age of 21. But this is for little kids. That's what we're going after as well. And I'm.
But you just said 21. 18, 17, 19. That's not little kids. It's not little kids.
Sick and tired of the abuses that have gone on up until this point.
Hold on. Merlin says, I smoked it when I was 10. Merlin, you couldn't have because they didn't have the Fruity Pebbles one. See, now I know you're lying. Because you could only smoke weed if you're a kid, if there's like Fruity Pebbles ones in the store. And that didn't exist. She just told you that. So Merlin, stop lying. Since that wasn't the case, there's no way that's happened. Because it only happens, kids only smoke weed when they see colorful Fruity Pebbles things in stores, and then they get suckered in, because what store owners want is store owners, they want little kids to come in their store and buy Fruity Pebble weed, edibles, I guess. They want that for some reason. Jesus Christ. If you're going to smoke weed as a kid, you're going to smoke weed as a kid. The candy packages don't matter, and if you're not, you're not. This is not a thing. It's not a thing.
Leave our kids alone. Let the legal industry prosper. And what we're doing is going after the bad actors.
No, you're not.
At my direction, the state police has launched a cannabis enforcement task force, giving
there's the jobs.
Its needs. And we've been striving
Resources
to reach our goal of shutting down the majority of these illegal stores in 90 days.
90 days.
About a month now.
We are wrecking small business owners in New York City. We're making sure nobody, look, she put up a serious protection racket. A serious protection racket. And she's like, if you give me campaign money, then I will make sure that I protect your stores from any competition. I will absolutely arrest all your competition. I'm not playing games.
And thank you to our incredible legislature for giving the tools we need to be able to do this in our last budget. Just got that done. The regulations.
More money.
Yes, give another round of applause to our legislators.
More. Oh, yeah. Thank you. Let's arrest more local people who are harming nobody to support our donors.
Multi-agency
Yes.
effort, bolstered by our tax and finance criminal investigators, tackled cannabis trafficking, illegal.
Shelley says, there's a reason my grandchildren live in other states. I wish that wasn't true, Shelley. I wish it wasn't, but I understand. I do, completely. My one adult daughter does not live in New York State. I know. I am with you. I am with you.
Dispensaries and made it more difficult. It's a great model of collaboration among government levels as well. And I want to thank all
Jesus
people who worked
Christ.
on that. So far, our state level, again, you'll hear from the mayor about the city level, okay? But together, we're having a real impact. Over 187 inspections, seizing 3,200 pounds of cannabis products worth
Jesus Christ.
$30 million.
You took $30 million. One more time. You took $30 million out of the local economy. I'm not making that up. If you took $30 million worth of goods out of local stores. You took $30 million out of the local economy. And you're proud of that. And people will vote for you. How broken are we as a state that we would clap for this, that we would support this? She pulled $30 million out of communities that are struggling. What a horrible human being she is for that, and proud of it. Because her people who paid her money weren't making enough money. And Roger asked, what makes these shops illegal? They didn't buy her license, which she made it almost impossible to get. And she admits, she called her system a disaster. She called it, not me, her words, not mine. She admitted in the last video we saw, which is about a month old, that it took over 8 months to get a license, just to get word about your license, and cost one dude $40,000. He could make no money. Then she admitted that the person who's here, she just arrested shut down all the stores around this woman's area so she could make her money because they were illegal. So who got the licenses already? Who got them? The people who gave her money up front. I'm not joking. That's who did it. That's why that guy who is leaving now, the guy who runs it, wanted to have it. So his cronies could get their licenses. Now he's going to do other things. Remember that from the other video? He will now leave and work for one of them. I'm not joking. I say these things. You think I'm making up, but afterwards, if you notice, every time I say these things, 6 months, a year later, every freaking time I'm right. Because that's how this system works. What I try to show you with these videos is not just trying to make fun. I do make fun. But I want you to understand how corrupt this government actually works and how it is. Not just New York State, it's all over, but it's heavily here in New York State. That guy, I forgot his name, the guy who she said ran this thing into the ground the last 2 years. He's going to do other things. He will be working for one of those companies who got the licenses. Most of the licenses, Roger, to answer your question, most of the licenses are actually gotten by big real estate companies. They're real estate companies who are backed by big finance. The real estate companies got licenses so they can buy up farmland and buy up stores. That's why they do it, because they're real estate companies. So they're not actually weed companies. They're real estate companies. They all got licenses. They don't know how to run the weed business. They know how to run real estate. But if the government's going to arrest all your competition, you don't have to know how to run anything. If I'm going to be selling cups and I have the government arrest everybody who sells cups, I can be the worst cup maker in the world. Doesn't matter. The government's arrested all my competition. I'm basically a monopoly. So you can suck at cannabis. It doesn't matter. If the government arrests all your competition, it's just totally fine. That's happening now. That guy who keeps his job, even though he openly sucks, she said he sucks. He wrote the laws and everything, and it's all the regulations, and it sucks. He will keep his job till his contract's over, not be fired, not be punished, and he'll work for one of the people that he hooked up, because that's how that works. Hopefully this answers your question.
My friend, that is 1 month's worth of effort. $30 million seized and padlocked 114 unlicensed shops already. So we're going after the
I want to repeat what to make sure that's clear. And she padlocked 114 shops. There were 114 people, maybe families, maybe not, probably families, who started a business in the local community, selling weed to their local community, openly in a store, trying to be right. And she ruined them all. She ruined them all. She ruined 114 families in New York City. Ruined them. She said, was it 140, 114? Merlin, I'm not sure which one. It's horrible either way. 140, 114, whatever she said. Ruined them. For what? Because they didn't pay her. They didn't go through her impossible maze and pay all the money required. So they had to go. Their credit's probably ruined. They're broken. And what they learned? They learned, why try to go straight? Just stay in the black market. Just stay in the shadows. Just stay with violence. Just stay there. Don't try to do the right thing at all. Don't do it. That's what she just taught them. And she's proud and smiling. And those broken sycophants in that group are sitting there clapping. And Shelley brings in a very important point. 114 people and their employees. Yes, and their employees. And she's proud of that. She should be embarrassed. She should be ashamed. And I'm going to stop sharing at this point. I don't want to go any further. I am obviously bothered by that because I am an entrepreneur and I failed at business before. And I know how it feels. I know, and for those of you who've tried a business and failed, you know how that feels to fail like that. It doesn't feel good. And a lot of people will never recover. I was lucky, and I just keep trying because I'm stupid or bullheaded or something, and I keep going. But most people don't. I gave you a lot today, 4 or 5 videos. I know I was making up for it. And I hope it was interesting for you. And I hope you see how this system works. This is every state. New York State's the worst. And it's obviously the worst. She's a terrible governor. Let me be clear. She's a terrible governor and a bad person. And her team is incompetent. And she admits it. And it doesn't matter. That's the sad part. Eric Adams is a terrible governor. And his team is incompetent. And it doesn't matter. They focus on things that don't matter. Ignore things that are critical. And it doesn't matter. Why? Because we don't have a democracy. I'm not joking when I say that. We don't have one. I am not a member of the Democratic Party in New York State. So that means I have no say in my government in New York City or state. None. Because I can't vote in primaries. And Democrats win everything where I live. My city councilman is a Democrat, a member of the DSA, Democratic Socialists of America. My state assembly, a state senator, also same thing, DSA members. And my congressperson, AOC, DSA members. Everyone in my line from city to state to federal, all of them are Democrats. All of them are members of DSA. I'm not a Democratic Party member. Therefore, I cannot vote for them. I have no say. I have no say in my government at all. And nobody cares. Nobody cares. Nobody cares. All independent parties in New York State have been destroyed, ripped to pieces, gone. Well, Larry is a conservative party. Conservative party is a Republican party. There's a working families. That's Democratic Party. Green Party, gone. Libertarian Party, gone. They're all gone. Independent Party, gone. There is no way of fixing this. She's a terrible governor, obviously, with terrible results, obviously. Decaying my state, obviously. And nobody cares. It is frustrating. You might say, Larry, I don't live in New York State. It's coming to you. If you think it's not, you are fooling yourself. It's coming to you. It is. Guys, I'm going to ask you one more time. Please click the like button. I know I bug you because it matters. Do it. If you are watching on Twitter, please retweet. You guys didn't super chat me today. That's okay. But you can make it up to me. You can join and be a member on YouTube. Do that. Click that join button. It's $5 a month, $4.99. Do that so I can keep doing this. I do more of this and less work. It does matter. Please do it if you can. It is important. You can go on Patreon if you like also. Another way of doing it. If you want to help us out, please do that. But here's the silliest thing I want you to do. When I'm done with this and you're done watching it and it's over, come back on whatever you're watching. If you're watching on Facebook, if you're watching on Twitter, if you're watching YouTube, come back on after it's over and leave a comment. I will watch the comments. I'll watch the comments and I will respond. Even if you ask me a question, I'll answer your question. I will respond to your questions. I will. Please put it, comment in after it's done. I really appreciate it. I need it. Guys, I'm going to be on tomorrow at 3 and then 6 p.m. on Friday, and I'll do some kind of AMA over the weekend. I will see you all very soon.